in on the Google Hangout with you to be live and in living color from my office where we dream so big they make the Grand Canyon look small. We got big dreams, and this is where I work, right here in my spot. And so I see my wife, I got my bride here. Anyway, I'm excited about being on this Google Hangout. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying this Monday night, what we call Monday school around here, which is like Sunday school on Monday, to give you some life lessons on how to live better and achieve more in your life, and how to do it according to God's principles, the godly way of life. And so I am excited about being able to share that. As many of you know, I went back to school, I'm very proud of this, last year before last now, got my doctorate from the California Graduate School of Theology, and it's a doctorate of ministry. The emphasis is on faith-driven achievement, and specifically how to live better and achieve more, how to do more with what you've been given in this gift called life. God's gift to you is life. And your gift to God is what you do with your life. So I want you to live an extraordinary life, and God has orchestrated, designed you to do so. But many people live under the circumstances rather than over the circumstances. They let the circumstances dictate how they're going to live their lives rather than letting the way God orchestrated, designed, and engineered you to live your life. See, God said, I knew you before you were even born. I knew you in your mother's womb. In Jeremiah, he said, I knew you and formed you in the womb and consecrated you for great things. So you were born to do something great with your life. And so we want you to live over the circumstances, not under the circumstances. And we want you to live it the full life, all of your life, with excitement and exceptional living. So tonight we want to continue what we started last week, how to live a full life, all of your life. If you didn't join us last week, or you weren't able to catch the replay on the Google Hangout, which I encourage people to do, we're going to be doing that. First, I want to say greetings to everybody who's been at some of our seminars, some of our events, who've been listening to me on XM Radio. I want to thank you for getting the word out about this Google Hangout. And I encourage you to keep sharing with people. Monday nights was my schedule will allow. We're going to do it as often as we can to get you a message absolutely free. And we just ask you to go to jollygoodnews.org, jolly, Jolley, goodnews.org, and look around. Get some of the interviews from the 700 Club, my messages from the Crystal Cathedral, messages from churches. We're going to start daily television up there soon. And if this is a blessing to you, we ask you to partner with us and to make a donation so we can take this message to more places, to more media outlets, to radio, television, and get some of our programs, the books in the prisons and the DVDs in the schools, so that we can start to change people's thinking, and they can start to think how they literally can live better and achieve more. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Starts with a mindset. So one of the things we talked about last time was that your age does not limit you in what you can do or what you can achieve. I shared how I had met a man in the gym, 63 years old, who said he was old, and how he was just hanging on. 63. That was one day in the gym I met him, and the next day I went to the birthday party for my homeroom teacher from junior high school, her 95th birthday, and how she was on the dance floor doing the wobble and the electric slide and living life. And I said, when are you going to be old? She said, I don't know. I'm nowhere near old. 95. Mindset. You think you're old, you act like you're old, you're going to be old. But if you have a mindset that age is just a number. In fact, I did an informal survey with some of my friends. And I asked them, at what age will you be old? At what age are you going to be old? Do you think old age starts? And interesting enough, all of my friends who are positive thinkers, big thinkers, all of them were stumped by it. I don't know. I don't ever think about it. I never think about getting old, particularly my speaker friends who never talk about retirement, because I've never heard speakers, make that a part of their conversation. They love what they do and they don't think about retirement. They just keep doing what they do and they have no interest in retiring. I told a group the other day, I have no plans of retirement. In fact, when I am finished living here on this planet and transition to hopefully be with the Father in heaven and be sitting at the Master's feet, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get in heaven. I'm trying to make sure I do all I can. I know my works won't get me in, but I'm doing all I can because I'm trying to get in. Anyway, when I get there, I want to be about the heart. So my last day, people will say, hey, I got one more thing to say. Anyway, in all reality, all seriousness, many people have a mindset that they're old because someone told them at this age is supposed to be old and they start acting old. And yet some other people have a different mindset that says, I don't know. What I did find out was this. The people who are positive thinkers, when you ask them, what do you think of old age is? And I'm going to ask you, what do you think old age is? What number will you say old age starts? The people I interviewed, all my friends, without question, said about 20 years from now, no matter what age they were. So the ones who were in their 50s said somewhere around 70, 80. Ones in their 60s, 80 to 90. But the ones in their 30s, they said 60, 70. When I was 20, I probably thought old age started in the 60s. But now that I'm close to 60, well, I'm not close yet, but I'm getting closer to 60. I don't think old age is I'm nowhere near old age. I'm young. I am youthful. I got a lot of energy. I got a lot of life to live. And so that is what was exciting about that informal survey. I ask you to check out a survey and do it for yourself. Ask a couple of friends, when is old age, and see how they respond. Some of them will say, I'm already old. Well, that's a mindset. But some will say, I don't know. I have no idea. One of my friends, he had no idea. He's in his mid-60s. He said, I have no idea when old age is going to get. And so that's what I want you to do. How to live your life full out. So here's what I want to talk about today. Taking that same concept, the gentleman who was 63, thought he was old, versus the woman who was 95 and said, I don't know when I'll be old. I got stuff to do. I got a whole list of things to do tomorrow. I got a whole list of things to do the next day. Every day I've got a lot of things. I live in my own house. I drive my own car. I'm doing what I want to do. She's 95, having a ball, living life full out. How do you live a life full out? How do you live a full life all your life? A couple of things I thought about. There was a quote by Frank Sinatra that said, live each day as though it's your last, because one day you'll be right. What I encourage people to do, and I was thinking about this the other morning, and I was thinking about the fact that some people don't live their lives fully, but what would you do today if you knew that this was your last day on earth? What would you do? There's this commercial on television about this guy who gets a note while he's in a meeting saying, hey, Bob, you're about to have your heart attack, or your heart attack's going to be here at 3 o'clock. What if you knew this was your last day? What would you do? Well, I think the obvious answer to that is you tell your loved ones that you love them. You want to spend some time with them. But what else would you do on your last day? Yesterday, I went for a bike ride here in Washington, D.C. It was a beautiful day, almost in the 70s. And I rode down to the waterfront in Georgetown. It's about 10 miles from my home. I rode my bicycle and thinking. And I said, this is a great day. I got up in the morning this morning. I talked to my wife, talked to my son, talked to my daughter. Had a great conversation with both. Had a conversation with my granddaughter. I love my granddaughter. And for some family members. Then went on to church. Had a great service at church. Came back home. Had a lunch with my wife, and then she went to yoga, and I went and do what I love doing on the weekends when it's a beautiful day, getting on my bicycle and riding and thinking and listening to gospel music and inspirational music. I said, this is great. I got down to the waterfront. I saw old friends walking along. It was such a beautiful day. People out walking. And I said, this is fantastic. And then finally I rode back and I said, what would I have done on a Sunday like this if it were my last day? After I tell my loved ones I love them, I would do the things I love doing. I would ride my bicycle. I would go give a speech somewhere. I love giving a speech. I told you last week, my grandmother, she lived life till she died. She lived full out till she died. She was 87 years old. No, 89, I'm sorry. 89 years old when she died. And that day, she had done what she did every day, what she loved to do, which was she was a beautician. They called it in her time, a hairdresser. And she had a hair salon in her home. It was actually a shop that was an extension of her home. She would leave her home in Philadelphia, go through a little hallway into the shop. And they had, you know, chairs for the ladies and bowls and all of that. They had a waiting area, beautiful area. And she did 3 or 4 heads the day she died. She did 3, 4 heads. She had a great day. She made some money. She loved making money, so she could spend it on her grandchildren. And then she went into her home, locked the doors, sat down, and died. Wow, that's awesome. So how do you live a life, a full life, all your life? Mindset. You decide to. No one knows how long we're going to be here. No one knows when we leave here. But when you make up your mind to live full every day, like it's your last day, because one day you will be right. And you live with a few things that I shared with the group on Saturday that, let me tell you, this message really inspired me because I said God was speaking through me. Many times people wonder about my book, A Setback and Set Up for a Comeback, and how the book has become such a big seller and how so many people talk about how it's had a profound impact. I look at all my books, all of them. It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life, Setback, Set Up for a Comeback, Setbacks and the Greenbacks, Attitude of Excellence, Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul, and the other chicken soup books I'm involved in, the Go Mad book for young people. I don't look at the books that I wrote. I believe those are books that came through me, not from me. And I just got a chance to share what was on my heart and put them in a book form that God had blessed me with. And someone says, downloaded this info into me, and I just shared it with others in a book form. And sometimes I do that with my speeches. Well, this speech was one of those speeches. Haven't given this speech in over 20 years. My wife had never even heard it. And she's been working with me for over 20 years now. This is a speech I gave over 20 years ago about the power of the P's. P is in pearl. P is in prosperity. P is in priceless. The power of the P's. And the power of the P's, I looked at and went back to some of my old notes and some of my old tapes and listened and thought about it. And how in 20-some years I've grown tremendously. I've stretched. My mind has stretched. The thinking I had then is not the thinking I have now. Thank God. And someone said, well, if you're the same person you were 20 years ago, you're a pitiful person. And so you've got to keep growing. I want to keep growing. And so what the power of the P's were was one that if you're going to live your life full out, all your life, you got to make sure you're clear on your purpose. Miles Monroe talked about purpose. He said, you got to have a purpose. He wrote about purpose. I was blessed to have Miles as a friend. And so he talked about purpose in many of his books and how you have to find your purpose, know your purpose, live your purpose. Why are you doing it? What is your purpose? Why were you born? When you live your making and you make a living, living your making, you'll really have a great life. But some people go to work and they hate their jobs. I say you need to do one or two things. You need to either learn to love your job, which you can do by changing your thinking, or you need to find a new job, one that you really enjoy. Hopefully you have people who love you and encourage you and support you and just inspire you at your job. Now, if you hate your job, it's not a good thing. I spoke for the American Heart Association some years ago. And they shared a study with me in preparation for my speech that the #1 time people that have heart attacks is between 6 and 9 a.m. on Monday mornings. People who make themselves get up and go to jobs they can't stand. They're not happy. They're not enjoying it. They struggle through it. They start at the beginning of the day waiting to count the minutes to the end of the day, and that's all they do. That's not living life. No. I believe you ought to live your life with fullness, enjoy life. Find a job you love. You know, one thing I did find that I had used to say was that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I don't know if that's actually true. I used to say, but I learned to be able to question what I used to say when I was a new speaker. I had read it in books, I heard somebody say it, and I just bought on, or I felt it was a good sounding quote. But I learned that it is not absolutely true. Like the fact I used to say that the only way you can become wealthy in America is being an entrepreneur. I remember when I used to tell people that. The only way you can become wealthy in America is being an entrepreneur. Have your own business. I learned over the years that's not true. I've learned that's not true. You can work for somebody, and you can enjoy that work, and you can do it and bring value, and you can become wealthy. Case in point. Steve Ballmer is the president, or has been the president of Microsoft. He works for Microsoft. He works for Bill Gates. And he doesn't own Microsoft, but he's wealthy. He just bought the basketball team, the Clippers, the LA Clippers, because he had the money to do it, $2 billion. And he works for somebody else. There are a lot of people who are CEOs, corporate execs, people who work in real estate and insurance, who work for companies, and they're wealthy because they give value to the market and are paid well for that value. So I learned that was not true, that you can work for somebody else and become wealthy. Now, what working for yourself gives you is the options to call your own shots. You make the decision about your future, when you work, how you work, where you work, what you do. You don't answer to anybody but you. It's kind of hard for you to fire you. It's kind of hard for you to fire you. It'd be a bad day when you fire yourself. All right. So what I say to that is that you find your purpose. So one of the things I've learned over the years is that purpose is God-given. You got to find that thing that you love, that talent, that gift, that skill, that ability that you love to do. That leads to the second part of this whole equation. It's passion. What are you passionate about? That usually will help you find your purpose. Because many people, they have a hard time finding their purpose. They have a hard time finding why they were here because they never discovered it. It's like the gentleman I met when I was speaking for Ford. Many people know me from my work with Ford Motor Company some years ago. And Ford called me in 2006 when they were struggling. They were trying to get 25,000 people to leave the company. They did not want to fire them. They needed to get them to leave voluntarily. They had a buyout offer. It wasn't going well. They only had, by the almost to the end of the buyout, only 4,000 people had taken the buyout out of the 25,000 they needed. They contacted me and asked me if I would be of help. I worked with Ford to help to inspire the people not to take the buyout, but to live their dreams. I told them I won't talk to them about taking the buyout, but I will talk to them about living their dreams. And by the end of that process, 38,000 people had taken the buyout. So the Detroit Free Press wrote about it and said Ford had a guy named Willie Jolly, a motivational speaker, who helped them to have this amazing buyout. Then Ford brought me back 2007 to do television spots for the workers. In 2008, we did another tour. As you remember, 2009, Ford was only one of the big three automakers to be able to reject the government bailout and go on to billion-dollar profits. And that had a profound impact on my speaking business. Walmart and Prudential and Verizon, GM, so many called and said, I want you to come. I spoke about Microsoft because I was one of the people Microsoft called to launch their go-to-meetings, myself and Donald Trump. And it was really amazing. I was even invited because of the success of Ford. People started hearing about me. So I say that to say that the people knew about my successes and my speaking, but it's about your passion. What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about speaking. I'm passionate about encouraging people. I'm passionate about helping people live their dreams. And so I want to encourage you to find what you're passionate about. And let me tell you something I heard recently. I heard Samuel L. Jackson, actor, on one of the morning television shows. And they said to him, man, you just are working all the time. He said, I work because I love to work. I don't see it as work. Going back when I said, I used to think that when you do what you love, you never work. Well, you work, but it's not the same as grind work because you really enjoy it. I work very long hours often. When I'm not speaking, I'm here in the office. I get here in the morning. I stay till late at night. I don't even count the hours. I don't count time. I really enjoy preparing, working on a new book, working on a new audio series. So doing this Google Hangout for free because I want to inspire people. And then doing our goal setting seminar, by the way, if you're in the Washington area. Oh, actually, we're going to do it webcast as well on this Saturday, the 14th of February. We're going to do a goal setting seminar on how to set goals that you can use to have an amazing year. And so we did it January 3rd. It was so successful. People came from around the country. It was so successful. They asked, could we do it again? And so we're going to do it on February the 14th. You can go to jollyu.com/amazing. jollyu.com/amazing if you want to sign up for that. We'd love to have you. We're going to have some people live here in Washington and some who want to be able to get it via the broadcast and the webcast or around the world. So we want to help you to set goals because most people don't find their passion and don't work because they're not clear about where they're going. So Samuel Jackson said, I love working. And he said, you've done about 150 plus movies. He said, I never counted. He said, I just love working. And he said something I thought was profound. He said, you know, if you love what you do, when you wake up, you just want to do it. He said, painters, when they wake up, they go and they paint. Musicians, when they wake up, they go and they play their music. They sing, they play the piano. Writers, when they wake up, they go and write. He said, I'm an actor. When I wake up, I go and I want to act. Wow. Do you get that kind of buzz for what you do? I hope you can work on it. Many times, you can change your thinking. You know, many people, if you're not happy with your job, I said you got two options. Start talking good into your job. I love my 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 job. The more you speak it, the more you'll start to have a new perspective about it. But if, perchance, you really, really, really can't love it, you just hate it, it's a grind, it's drudgery, then start looking for your next position where you do love, because God gave you a life that was engineered for success and achievement. He put in you the seeds for success, that you were born to do something special with your life. You were born to be extraordinary, exceptional. So live an extraordinary, exceptional life. So have a mindset that age doesn't matter. I said last week that George Burns is one of my favorite entertainers. I remember as a little boy on television with the big cigar. He has a lot of quotes that just were fantastic. A friend of mine, Bill K, sent me this quote just this morning. Here's a quote from George Burns, who lived until he was 99 years old, just about 100 years old. He said, retirement at age 65 is ridiculous. He said, when I was 65, I still had pimples. He said, I can't get old because I'm working. He said, I can't die because I'm booked. He said, I look to the future because that's where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. Wow. I usually say this about George Burns. He'd say, when he was 99 years old, he signed a 10-year contract with Caesar's Palace. He said he would have signed a 20-year contract, but he didn't think they'd be in business. He'd say something every day. He'd say every day he'd wake up and look in the obituary. If his name wasn't there, he'd get busy. I encourage you to have that kind of life mindset, that you're excited, that you don't have time to die. You got too much to do. I talked about the lady last week who got her braces in her 90s. The doctor said it's going to take you 3 to 5 years. She said, I got time. I'm going to be here. She got braces on her teeth. I've always wanted braces. Isn't that awesome? I'm encouraging you to get a mindset that this is going to be a great life. How to live a life that's full. All of your life, live each day as if it's your last. Give it all you've got. Because one day you will be right. There's no going back. So live each day all full out. Live full, die empty, enjoy the journey, and remember God is a good God. And if you will live what He has put in you, your purpose, which is usually connected to your passion, that what you love and what you hate. I hate mediocrity, but I love seeing people live their dreams. And I always want to encourage people to do it. So, again, for those who joined late, please know that you can watch this again, watch some of the other Google Hangouts. We're going to be having a whole list and line of programming on my faith-based website, jollygoodnews.org. jollygoodnews.org. You can see my messages from the Crystal Cathedral and from First Baptist Church of Glenarden, and from my interviews on the 700 Club and on TBN. I mean, lots of information. You can actually see some of my Live Better with Willie Jolly segments from CBS TV. And if this is a blessing to you, just donate. Make a donation, whatever God lays on your heart, whatever it is, you know, whatever, from a penny to $1,000 or $10,000. We just want to be a blessing to more people. We're going to raise money to put my books, particularly the Set Up for a Comeback book, into prisons, so that prisoners will know that their past does not determine their future. Change their mindset. And also take my youth video, it's around here somewhere, my youth video, my PBS video for young people, and put it in every school. We're going to raise the money to do that. And once we do, we're going to try and change young people from ever going to prison, and change the ones in prison from when they get out, never going back. We're going to think we're going to impact the world. One last thing we're going to do is we're going to have a Change Your Life Summit. I don't know when, but it's going to be coming up. But we're going to have a Change Your Life Summit, so I'll invite you over to that when we have it, so you'll be able to come out. Tell your friends about this Google Hangout. Monday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Make sure you listen to my Sirius XM show on Saturday afternoons. We have some great guests who give God the glory and who are successful, showing you can be successful and godly. And so we'll have some more of those great interviews coming up soon, every Saturday at 4 o'clock. And we're grateful for the fact that the show now is said to be the #1 motivational, inspirational self-help show on the Sirius XM network. Now that Oprah has changed and gone off the air on Sirius XM and now is focusing on TV, I am the #1 self-help show. So I'm grateful for that. So tell your friends to listen in, tell your family to listen in, and if you want to be at our goal setting seminar, make sure to go to jollyU.com/backspace, amazing. How to have an amazing year this Saturday, 14th. Thank you for joining us for this Google Hangout. Did you enjoy it? Send me a note. Send me an email. Send me a message. Let me know what you thought about it. We're going to continue to do it, continue to grow it, continue to improve it, and we want to be able to give to people, because God has been so good to us and been so good to me and has given me so much. As you give, so shall it be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, overflowing. That's what I want to do, give more, because God has been so good to me. Have a great day, and if you don't know Him, I recommend you get a relationship with Him. He's worthy of all the praise. This is Dr. Willie Jolly. Our time is up. Wow, it sure goes fast. Next week, we're going to give you a couple more of those P's that will help you to have a full life and live a full life all of your life. Okay? So tell folks we're going to keep this series going. I got more P's for you, and we got more stuff for you, and we're going to have a great time. And I will close as I close my speeches. You have only just a minute. It's only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon you. You can't refuse it. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it. But it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute. But an eternity is in it. God bless you. Have a great day. Continue to dream big and continue to give God the glory and live your dreams. 2015, we're going to live our dreams. God bless. Bye-bye.